Green Brier Distillery, Nashville, Tennessee. Used to put out an MGP product under the Belle Meade line. This is their Reserve. Now they have the Nelson's Brother Reserve. We're going to do a blind taste test to decide which one is the better bourbon. Stay tuned. We'll let you know what we think.
Welcome back to Exploring Whiskey. Tonight, we got a little blind battle.
Yeah.
Tennessee Green Brier versus the old distillate. Well, not theirs.
Not theirs. So that's the fun part here. Green Brier Distillery, when they first kind of came on the scene, they were sourcing from MGP, and they released their lineup under the name of Belle Meade.
Yep, the
So Belle Meade, there was a classic. They did all the finishings. I mean, they hit the scene for their honey.
Yeah.
When they did the honey finished, that became like huge on secondary. Everybody, oh, okay, now we know Belle Meade. In 2022, I want to say, they decided they weren't going to source from MGP anymore. They're going to make their own, but it's not all just theirs. They do still have some other stuff from other places, not just MGP, and they do blend a little bit,
Right.
but they are making their own whiskey as well. So what I thought would be fun is if we do this blind, which one's better? Because I will say some of the finishes on the Nelson's Brother line, since they've converted, have been awesome. And I would say, like, their sherry, I love their sherry cask finish. The Belle Meade was good. I do, like, so I think there's some variance. I think there's things like that. But I always had a soft spot in my palate for the Belle Meade.
Oh, me too.
The notes that come through off of that. I actually have the old school version, and I think I have just a little drip left.
Cask strength.
The old cask strength version, where
It's
it
the
came out
opposite.
as to whatever
I think it's
proof they
103.
blended.
Oh, no. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, so
That's right.
I think the one I have is 114-ish, something
Okay.
like along those lines. So I have that going back that far, where they used to do that. Then they made it so that all of them came out at 108.3.
Right.
But MGP, they don't release a mash bill. They do, it's not age stated, but they say it's 7 to 11 years old, and $60. Nelson Brothers Reserve, they don't give you the mash bill, but I remember at the bar, I want to say it's like a point more rye, a point less corn, or a couple less corn, and one more rye and some more malted barley, something like that.
It's super close, though.
It's really close, but
Right.
it's like a point off for each of the different categories. So very, very close. The Nelson Brothers is 107.8, so slightly less proof, and $60. So my wife was nice enough to pour this for us, so we can get to do it blind and not be weighed by the fact that we might think we like Belle Meade more. But so these are the same, and
one for me, one for
all
you.
right, and that's how we labeled it. We labeled it with the Exploring Whiskey logo and without Exploring Whiskey logo.
All
So
right.
let's smell. Let's see what happens. I'm going to start with the
Label.
Label,
Okay.
yeah. Soft cherry notes. A little bit of baking spice,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of sweetness,
A little bit of wood.
just a touch of wood. I would agree with that.
We nosing?
Proof is there. Let's nose and drink.
Okay.
Let's do that. Let's go that way. Yeah,
Yeah,
proof
nice,
is there, but it's
nice
like not
proof
like
off the nose.
overpowering. It's just, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're definitely drinking something with some ethanol in it. That's good. Ooh, that's really good. Wow.
Okie.
A lot of like soft, sweet wood notes.
Mm-hmm.
It's cherry,
Cherries, brown sugars,
browns, yeah, very sweet.
some vanilla going on.
A touch of a barrel note. What do you like? A little bit of oak note in the palate. Just a touch. Super nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. No complaints on that at all. That is really, really good. All right. With that label, that's a very different nose. Not quite as sweet. Not quite as fruit forward.
I'm just getting more
baking
barrel.
notes.
Yeah, baking notes.
Baking
and barrel
spice and some barrel notes.
notes. Barrel
Yeah.
notes.
Ooh, much sweeter on the palate. Much sweeter on the palate. Ooh, caramel. Really sweet on the palate. Again, not as fruity. Definitely a much fruitier note over here. But very sweet. Nice baking spice. That's going to be really hard to say which one's better. I don't know if they're better. They're different.
They're a little bit different, yeah, but I still get a couple notes the same, which doesn't make sense.
Similar.
It's different. Just it's different.
Yeah,
mash
totally
bills.
different distillate.
I like the finish on this one better. I got a little bit of drying notes on the first one.
Okay. The wood showed up a little bit more and dried out.
Yeah.
Versus this lingers with the sweetness a little bit longer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I get where you're going. Man, if you go back to back on the nose, it's not that different. Like, it's different, but it's not wildly different. A little bit more fruit, a little bit more of like a caramel brown sugar sweetness.
Yes. A little more barrel.
A little more, yeah, there's barrel, there's baking spice. Woo, that's closer than I thought it was going to be, honestly. This one, the palate finish, there's a slight sharpness.
Yes.
Just a slight sharpness in the palate. Don't catch it on the nose so much, but there's just a little bit of harshness that comes through.
And it fades, and then it comes back on the finish, like deep on the finish. Like there's a little bit of drying.
And not quite to the dry where you drool.
Right.
It's not quite there.
And this guy, this has always had a good spot in my heart.
I like the palate on that and the finish on that way more than I do this one. I actually like the nose a little bit more.
The nose is so much brighter on this one, where
things come through so much more. It's more apparent. The little bit of fruit note is really, really nice, and the sweetness that's coming through that. This is a little duller on the nose, but the palate, it's a lot of really good spots. I have my thoughts as to which one's which.
I do too.
But which one's better? That's hard.
That's the hard.
That's hard.
That's really hard to determine, man.
I know.
Gosh.
So I always come down to me, palate
and finish
is more important.
Me too.
Than nose. Because as long as the nose isn't offensive, you're generally, I mean, the point of drinking whiskey is to taste it. You're drinking it. Like, that's kind of the point. So I'm going to say I like the one without the label more than I do the one with the label.
And I think that's...
Which one? What you think the one without the label is that one?
I do.
See, now the funny part, I don't.
It's the opposite.
I think the fruity note that I get off this reminds me of what I used to get off of that. There was a red cherry note that would come through that.
Oh, for sure.
That I don't think comes through that, and I get more of that cherry note on this one than that one. But I'm not certain. I mean, I'm really not certain. That's so hard.
Oh,
they're
I'm
so
questioning
close.
Everything. Yeah.
So close. All right, so one, let's take just, both of these are great.
Yeah.
Both of these at $60 at 108-ish proof, they're both great whiskeys. And in my opinion, much better than the classics.
Yes.
The classics, they also have a classic line, which is like 45, I think. I don't even know if they carry the classic line for the Belle Meade anymore. I think they just have it for the Nelsons.
Yeah.
It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. No, not the Tennessee Sour Mash, not the Green Brier.
Okay.
No, they actually have just a classic one of
classic
the
bourbon.
Yeah, just classic bourbon.
Right.
It's fine. It's not nearly as good as the reserves are.
The big ones are the finishes. If you find that all the finishes just
great.
grab them.
There's so many. They do so many of them.
They were. Oh man, they were out the gate doing finishes before a
They
lot
were.
of other people.
That was a big thing that they really started doing, and they've not stopped with the Nelson brothers. They do, I think, 2 finishes a quarter now that they're releasing.
Wow.
It feels like they're doing almost 2 different, and now they've repeated. So
That's
the honey,
awesome.
they've done it 2 years, 3 years of Nelson's honey.
Yeah.
They did 2 Black Briars. So
Ooh,
those
that's a great bottle.
those are really good. So they're repeating ones that are good.
Yeah.
That are really good. So I think the Calvados was solid. The Maple Cask sold out really quick and was very good.
And this guy is
I don't know.
discontinued. They
Nationally.
say. Yeah, nationally.
So it's nationally discontinued. They're going to, locally, I believe they're going to keep it and in partnership with the Belle Meade Plantation. So I think locally, we'll still be able to get it. Nationally, it's Nelson Brothers going to take over their national distribution. That's how it was originally explained to me when
we as
I
in
went there.
Tennessee. So it's all over. It's still,
we
you
as
can
in
find
Tennessee.
this anywhere, but
Yeah.
a lot of people are saying it's discontinued. It's not going to happen anymore at all. So.
Well, if they're not sourcing, so they got bought by Constellation?
Yeah.
So they're probably not sourcing from MGP anymore. So at some point they're going to run out.
Right.
There's no question about that. They're going to run out.
The contracts in the end.
Something's going to disappear. We think that without is better. But have you changed your mind? Did I convince you that this might be the Belle Meade, or you still think without's the Belle Meade?
I still think this is the.
So without's the Belle Meade is what you think?
Yeah.
All right, ready? Let's see. With. I was right. Sweet.
Son of a bitch. That's crazy to me.
And without.
This used to be like
your go-to
my staple
cocktail, everything.
Everything. Well,
blind.
How the palates change.
You just picked that guy as your favorite on the blind. So yeah, so with that nose, that cherry note on the nose, or fruity note.
It's cherry and wood.
That's what reminded me of it. I was just like, that's what I remember off of that. But just pure tasting of palate, I prefer Nelson Brothers.
There was something slight on the finish.
When you get to the palate, it was a little off.
Yep.
Yep. Not bad, just
no.
Slightly off. I'm kind of happy because I want to assume all the finishes that they're doing, like their maple cast, their honey cast, that's the starting point.
Yeah, the base spirit is that.
Is the reserve, not the classic.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you finish it? Why would you take your baseline that's kind of mid and finish that in something? Why wouldn't you take your better whiskey and then finish that in whatever barrel you're using?
I know Nashville's like a hot spot for all these. I mean, if you're out of state watching this, go to their distillery. There's a lot of liquor stores you can go to. There's a lot of places you can go to, but go to their distillery. Great tours. Great restaurant.
Wonderful lunch. Go there.
Great flights.
Yes, the bar's great. The gift shop has it has so much whiskey in the gift shop. It's nearly ridiculous. You can go in there and you can spend a pretty good amount of money.
Yes. I feel bad about myself.
I don't feel bad because I got right one. Two, that makes me feel good about their future. Like if that blind ends up being the better of the reserves and they use that to, like, they're using a slightly better whiskey to do their finishes, it's just going to keep getting better.
Good blind. Good stuff.
Yeah, fun. I thought it would be a fun comparison of the two reserves.
Yeah. I'm glad you did. As soon as you suggested it, I was like, I'm in. I'm blind for this. Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah.
This one is being discontinued outside of Tennessee. If you find it, grab it for sure. Especially if it's south of $60, grab it.
Yeah. And if there's any of their finishes that have the Belle Meade label, grab that because they're not doing them anymore. So, if for some reason there's a Dusty sitting in one of your liquor stores that is a Belle Meade finished in whatever,
do it.
Totally grab.
Yeah.
Totally grab that.
And this is actually popping up in some Dusties too. I've seen it for $40, so grab it.
Yep.
Especially if you haven't tried it.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Great cocktail, great old fashioned.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good cocktails you can make off of that for if you can catch it in the 50-ish range.
8-year MGP, come on.
Yeah, absolutely. If you like blind little things like this, we'd appreciate a little support.
Yeah.
Throw that thumbs up. A like down there will help the algorithms share us out to more people, and we get to grow the channel, and we would very much appreciate that. And I'm almost positive I have a playlist of all the different Nelson Brothers that we've reviewed. So I'll link that up there so you can see all the different finishes that we've had over the last year and a half. We really started doing a lot of them. So you can take a look at that.
Including the honey.
Including the honey, the maple cask, the Calvados, the sherry.
They're the OGs of the honey.
Yes. Yeah, they were probably, their Belle Meade honey finished cask was probably one of the first ones doing that.
You should throw the honey blind. That was a fun one.
We did do a honey blind. I could throw that up there as well. All right, we'll throw two different ones up here. We'll have to space them out. We have a lot of good content, especially around the Belle Meade Green Brier Distillery, because they're local and we like to support local.
For sure.
So, all right. Well, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.
Label.
Cheers. You too.